I don't know if this is gonna be long at all, if I have to move or whatever, but I'm mobile. But anyway, what up though? See, see, doing too much movement. But what up, man? Um, this just came off the bat for me. I didn't schedule this or nothing, but I've been so excited, and I believe that the most of the card is set. Got like maybe one match left to put on the card for this year's SummerSlam, which will be happening August 3rd, Saturday, about less than 2 weeks from now, about I'll say 12, 11 days from now, in Cleveland at the Brown Stadium. I ain't worried too much about them as a team because they're in the AFC. So, uh, but we got a stacked card already. The majority of ain't no majority of them. All of these matches are singles matches. I remember last year I went to SummerSlam last year, which it was in Detroit, and it was it was my first time going to any WWE live event, and I was a fan of WWE since I was a child. Like started watching it around 2000, and I've always wanted to go to a wrestling event. Never could when I was a child. Finally had the opportunity to go to SummerSlam last year, and it was some great shit. Cody Rhodes in his first match, no, his third match versus Brock Lesnar in his last match, at least up until you know his allegations are through. But what the rise of LA Knight, I got to feel the Kavorka of LA Knight, and you know where he's at, right? You see where he's at. Logan Paul versus Ricochet, um, Ronda Rousey's last match versus Shayna Baszler. It was okay. It was cool. Io Sky cashing in after Bianca Belair won the undisputed women's championship versus Charlotte and Asuka. Like it was a great show. But man, I wish I could go to Cleveland because this SummerSlam is looking much more exciting. I didn't even mention Roman Reigns versus Jey Uso in the Tribal Combat match because it was a little bit disappointing. You expected a whole lot more to come from out of it, and it just didn't deliver as great as you thought it would. And really, as great as it wasn't like it wasn't as highly ranked as most of the other pay per views, just because how lackluster the main event was with Roman and Jay. So this SummerSlam on the other end is going to be a lot more, I believe, a lot more exciting because you got a lot more captivating storylines and just like all these singles matches and all these stars that's in this show uh, is going to really show why Triple H in charge of this company is the best thing for business right now. So it's 7 matches. I believe it will be 8 matches. They got to have one more, and I believe the one match they're going to add onto the card will probably be Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill versus Alba Fire and Isla Dawn for the women's tag team championships. There's a lot of other teams that's going for it. You see Sonya Deville with Zoe Stark and Shayna Baszler. You see Kaden Carter and Katana Chance. You see um, who else? Like like you see a couple other tag teams that's doing. If you see the jersey, if you understand the jersey, you will find out where I'm from. I'm from where this team plays. I ain't gonna get into all of that, but yeah, Maya can. I'm driving. I'm sorry I can't pronounce your name, but I'm from Detroit. And shirt the hat should tell you everything. Anywho, um, and shout out to Wheezy Blonde, who's not from Detroit, but she is a Detroit Lions fan. So, anywho, yeah, like it's a couple of good tag teams out there, but they've been one. The obvious answer, the reason why I'm saying it's going to be Bianca and Jay versus the title champions, Isla and Alba, is because they're on the poster. Now Miz is on the poster too, but they've been building up Bianca and Jade as this great ass tag team, especially Jade being the new superstar. So them losing the belts without being pinned by the champions, like by the challengers at the time, now the champions. I think they want to get their get back. So they're gonna do something on SmackDown, I believe. That's gonna try to get them their way in. We'll see what happens. But that's what I'm predicting for. That's the last match I'm predicting that's going to be put on the SummerSlam card is Bianca and Jay versus the unholy union of Alba and Isla for the tag titles. But now let's get into the matches that's on this card. We'll start with the SmackDown, the Women's Tag Championship. The Women's Championship, which is Bayley versus Queen of the Ring, Nia Jax. Bayley won the Women's Championship at WrestleMania against her former partner, friend, comrade, protege, Io Sky. Broke out of Damage Control, won the belt, and became, one of the more attractive faces. She's got back to the babyface role model. Like, she's not a hugger, but she's basically been doing a great job as like BBL Bayley, as Nia Jax want to call it, because she's had a couple of decent matches. Her match with Naomi and Tiffany Stratton at Backlash, great shit. But now we fast forward. She's had some other decent matches with Piper Niven and stuff, even at Scotland. But hasn't been, it's no story behind, what she's been really going through. But we fast forward to Queen of the Ring. We know that she has an opponent in Nia Jax. Now we got Tiffany Stratton, who is Nia Jax's accomplice and little friend, like she said, her personal Barbie doll. She's Miss Money in the Bank. Now, Bayley, she has some few accomplices, but they're not permanent. Whether it's Michin or Naomi, they don't stay too long. So Nia Jax, she has an insurance policy with Tiffany Stratton, even though Tiffany Stratton is kind of going to cash in her briefcase. But Nia is big enough of a bully to keep her away to trying to cash in. So long story short, I do believe that Nia Jax will beat Bayley to become your new women's champion. But I also believe in that victory, Tiffany Stratton is going to try to do some slick shit, try to cash in her briefcase. But when that happens, Charlotte Flair is going to make her return. Because we haven't seen Charlotte in about over almost a year. I think we haven't seen Charlotte since SummerSlam of last year, if I'm not mistaken. I think we haven't seen Charlotte Flair since last year's SummerSlam. So her making her comeback at this year's SummerSlam will be a big move that a lot of people haven't expected to see happen, because one, Charlotte Flair, she's a big deal, but as a heel, most people didn't care much for her. But she's one of the greatest athletes, male or female, in the company, and she is a Flair. She's a big name, 14-time women's champion, and she brings stock to this company. So her coming back will be unexpected for those who didn't expect it, of course. But if you checked her Instagram, if you checked her Twitter, you've been seeing that she's been on the road to recovery. With the knee brace, doing all the exercises to make sure that knee is ready for combat. Because who knows, if she'll change her style, if she'll still do the same black flips that she always used to do in her matches, whatever the case is. But I believe that Charlotte Flair will make her return after Nia Jax wins the women's championship from Bayley. So I ought to write that down too. I want to make sure I get these predictions right. Next match, I believe, I ain't going to we're going in order of importance, I guess. So you got the women's championship. You got the Intercontinental Championship. Officially rematch between Sami Zayn and Braun Breaker last month at Money in the Bank, or last couple weeks ago, but Money in the Bank, Sami Zayn retained his Intercontinental Championship against Braun Breaker. I had to watch that match in entirety to see how great this match was, because they said it was a good match, but it was a shocker in a way to see the Sami Zayn retain his championship, because we kind of had it pre-made in our minds that Braun Breaker was going to be next up, because how he's been running through everybody, mainly how he took out Ricochet, how he's been beating up Ilya and Sammy in between the process. But Sammy has been shown that you can't count me out. Don't count me out. You saw what I did at WrestleMania for the last 2 years. Main event at WrestleMania 39 and beat the Usos with my brother Kevin Owens. Co-main event at night 1 of WrestleMania and beat the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion and Gunther. Don't count me out. So he beat Braun Breaker in a shocker, but this time Braun Breaker's like, fuck Ilya, fuck everybody else, I want my belt. He said, I ain't gonna wait in the back of the line again. I'm gonna force you to get me my championship. He won the number one contendership match last night against Ilya by way of referee stoppage because he speared Ilya outside the ring, and Ilya's back of the head hit the LED board on the outside of the ring, and he couldn't get up. So I'm definitely believing that they're going to keep building the story that Braun will break Sammy to get that championship. He will do whatever's possible. And I think it might mess around and be a referee type stoppage match. He'll like, Sammy, he's the type that'll keep on getting up and fighting. And Braun is the type that will keep tearing you down until you don't get up no more. So I think that Braun Breaker will win this match in convincing fashion, in almost the same fashion that he beat Ilya last night. Might not be outside the ring. He'll keep probably spearing him until the referee tells him to stop. And then you'll have your new rising star and kind of the champion and Braun Breaker. So Sami Zayn will lose the IC title. Bayley will lose her women's championship. Next up, you've got Logan Paul versus LA Knight for the United States Championship. This match was finally made official at last week's SmackDown when Logan Paul finally put his name on the contract that LA Knight and Nick Aldis already signed for. With a nice promo from Logan Paul saying that what you do outside the ring, it ain't shit. Like, that's why I'm the United States champion. I'm already know I'm impressive with what I do inside the ring. But what I do outside the ring, I make money for this company. I do a lot more shit than what you do inside the ring with your measly 40-year-old ass. You know what I'm saying? So shout out to Logan Paul for having that. They definitely trying to build him up to make him a part-time WWE champion somewhere down the line, because Logan Paul is an impressive specimen for a celebrity. I just saw his brother Jake beat the shit out of some no-name nigga, and he got hands to fight no-name niggas and Tyson Woodley. We still waiting for the Mike Tyson match, and that's another cool thing. That nigga LA Knight said, "Yo, brother Jake got the balls to want to fight Mike Tyson, even though the fight's going to be delayed." Say, but you ain't got the balls to want to fight me. So he finally signed the contract. He said, "I'm gonna give you a little moment of glory." But this is the moment, the coronation moment for LA Knight that we've all been wanting to see happen. The homie Logan Paul has been United States champion for over 200 some days since Crown Jewel of last year. And he's been doing decent, having impressive matches, show why he can be a great part-time celebrity, a part-time wrestler and be a celebrity, pushing the brand as his champion. But LA Knight, since last year's SummerSlam, even before that, if you want to count him, especially I guess you would say since after the Bray Wyatt storyline at 2023, people wanted LA Knight at WrestleMania since last year when it was in LA. He said you can't have WrestleMania in LA without LA Knight, but he wasn't big enough. But the fans kept pushing him and pushing him and pushing him. And last year SummerSlam, he won the Battle Royal to get him a title shot against Roman Reigns eventually, and pushed him further up the card. And you see where he's at. He done beat some big marquee superstars like AJ Styles at WrestleMania. So they're giving him this push to be one of the next superstars. And this match against Logan Paul for the title should be his coronation. So that's 3 title changes for you right there. Logan Paul will lose because I think Logan Paul is from Cleveland, but some fans going to cheer for him because it's Logan Paul and it's from Cleveland. But when that LA Knight music drop, everybody's going to go crazy. That pop is going to be wild, and it won't nothing be greater than hearing that pop when he wins when he gets that pinfall after the BFT and wins the United States Championship. It's going to be an impressive match. Logan's going to be hella athletic. You already know what he's going to do. Split-legged leapfrogs. He's going to do probably one of his famous high dive frog splash from the top turnbuckle to the outside of the ring to the announce table. That's just going to happen. That's definitely going to happen. But Logan Paul is going to lose that United States Championship to LA Knight. Yeah. So that's 3 title changes for you. Then you've got the Women's World Championship on the line with champion Liv Morgan versus the returning Rhea Ripley, who's been wanting Liv Morgan ever since WrestleMania after she beat Becky Lynch. The whole storyline about that, Rhea Ripley got taken out and had to go leave due to injury because Liv attacked her in the backstage. Since then, Liv's been antagonizing and oogling and manipulating Dominic to all the way to get her to the point to have Becky Lynch be the champion and trick, like, all this type of shit. I'm fumbling up my words. What's up, Bomb? Cool. Yeah, go Lions, man. We coming for that Lombardi this year. I definitely say we're gonna be NFC champions, the Super Bowl champions in New Orleans. Let's not talk about that. That's not what this is about. All right. Yeah, Liv has been manipulating Dom to get her way to the top, and she became women's champion eventually at King and Queen of the Ring. She's retained her championship against other superstars with Dominic's help, even though he ain't trying to help, but being all sexual, manipulative, and all of this type of stuff. Rhea's finally back. Wants Liv's head. Wants Dom to get back on track. Straighten this shit out. Last night we just seen that Dom really told Liv how he felt. Cursed her out in Spanish, like, "You ignorant bitch, I don't like you." And we got to see Liv break down in tears. I thought I was going to see her turn, go from sob to crazy. Like, remember Kevin Hart when he was talking about when a woman changes from mad to straight up mean, go from just straight up ballistic sad to just stoic angry. That's what I thought I was going to see from Liv Morgan after she did that sob and turned around and had the camera showed her when she was she had a back turn. I thought he was going to see that type of shit. I thought he was going to see that, but that's eventually going to happen. And this whole thing has been Liv hasn't had any contact with me. Rhea hasn't had any contact with Liv because anytime that Rhea showed up, Liv ran. And Liv did her promos backstage on the TV screen. Last night it was like in the stands with the crowd and shit while Liv and Dom was in the ring. So next week I think is going to be, they're going to have a little bit of contact. Rhea might fuck around and hit the riptide on Liv, so people will get that pop from her. But Liv will retain the women's championship by way of manipulation of Dominic. Also, to any Lions fan, we need the big dog to show up at SS. The big dog? No, not the big dog, the tribal chief. That's what you're talking about. But but if you're talking about in the Lions, who's the big dog in the Lions? Panay? I don't talk to me. We're not doing any Lions talk, even though I got this Lions gear on, just to just represent my team. September, we coming for everything. But anyway, yeah, Liv is she's gonna retain that women's championship, but this time with not just Dominic's help. They're saying it's gonna be a full betrayal because, like he said, what he said to Liv, "I hate you, you ruined my life," and Rhea loved it and gave him a lick and a kiss on the face. But that's the flip. That's the flip side. But I don't think it's going to be Dom that does it. I think it's going to be Finn, because you got to remember, you guys have not remembered. If y'all don't go week by week, go month by month. And Liv was fucking with Dom, but also she was fucking with Finn too. So, and he was on Finn was on Liv's side since, because he won the tag team championships thanks to Liv's help. So Liv is gonna replace Rhea Ripley as part of the Judgment Day, kick Rhea out probably by next week, but she's going to lose that championship match. Rhea's not going to win she don't need the title right now. She's hot without the title. And but it's going to be by way of betrayal. I've been saying that Dom has been gullible throughout this whole situation, but maybe he might have a flip switch on him. But I think that Finn is behind this whole shit. Finn and Liv is behind this whole shit. So Rhea's going to lose, and Liv is going to leave a happy lady and with a man. I don't know. So that's 3 title changes, 1 title retaining. Off the titles. No. Yeah, 3 title changes, 1 title retaining. All right. We'll get to the World Heavyweight Championship. Damian Priest versus Gunther. King of the Ring, Gunther. We know what this man has been about. If you don't, then check his resume. Gunther has been a fucking monster before the main roster. The longest reigning NXT UK champion when he was tall and chunky, but still brutal, ruthless. Kicks to the face, chops to the chest, body splashes from the top rope. When he got on the main roster, he got skinnier, but he whooped people's asses with that same moveset, became the longest reigning Intercontinental Champion for 666 days from nearly since his debut up until WrestleMania 40 when Sami Zayn beat him. He's been on and off TV for the time, but he still don't stop whooping ass. He became King of the Ring, earned his world title shot, and Damian Priest since WrestleMania 40 when he became Money in the Bank, when we went from Senior Money in the Bank to El Campeon by pinning Drew McIntyre after winning the championship for 5 minutes and 46 seconds. Damian Priest has been a tweener champion, a bad guy on a bad team, but since then he's been showing babyface qualities by facing Jey Uso and showing him honor, but the Judgment Day wants to be goons and jump him, but Damian's not with that. Going against Drew McIntyre, trying to go fair and square, but you know, CM Punk helps out with that, screws Drew McIntyre in that case. What was the other match? I can't remember the other match that. Oh yeah, it's Seth Rollins. You know, once again, Drew screwing him. So Damian's been trying to prove himself as a worthy champion without having any heel help, but he's been getting this help. So Gunther feels like he's not worthy of this. You got Judgment Day problems. You've been you're a street thug from Puerto Rico. You're not worthy of being a champion like I am. I'm not here for gimmicks. I'm not here for gangs or groups. I'm here for prestige and honor, and and when whoop them motherfuckers' asses, and you ain't worthy of being a champion. So Damian has definitely been taking offense to that, and he's been showing more of his babyface side. Last night, you started off Raw with a Priest and Gunther brawl. Gunther was talking that street thug shit, slightly comparable to Triple H and Booker T at WrestleMania 19. Booker T was #1 contender for the World Heavyweight Championship that Triple H is holding, and Ben had at least since see the hat, see the jersey. I represent the Honolulu blue and silver, man. I represent the Detroit Lions. I represent my city, Detroit. Anyway, the World Heavyweight Championship to Gunther feels like it needs more credibility. So Gunther's ready to do that. But Damian Priest has been a great tweener person, but he's been showing his heel qualities, his babyface qualities in this present moment in time. And even though it's been some slight dissension with him in the Judgment Day because how he wants to be champion, Gunther has been a little bit too cocky. You know, he's been cocky since he was on his last little bit run as the IC champion. That's what got him to lose the title, because he just didn't want to finish the job. And he's been on and off the TV. And in between the time, he's been King of the Ring and been being the champion. I mean, being challenger for the championship. So I've been on the fence with what's going to happen. I do think that Gunther might win the title. Like I said, Nia Jax, who was the Queen of the Ring winner, she's going to win her championship. But I don't think that Gunther will win the world championship so soon. Maybe it might be a rematch at Bash in Berlin. Because I thought, at first I thought Gunther was going to win the title at SummerSlam, and then we'll see Bash in Berlin, Gunther versus Ilya Dragunov. But Dragunov hasn't been built up heavy enough to even Gunther and Ilya ain't even been face to face yet, except for after when Ilya lost in the King of the Ring tournament, and Gunther walked by him and looked down like, yeah, you ain't gonna face me yet. So they ain't gonna do that yet. not at Bash in Berlin, which is happening after SummerSlam. I think Braun versus Ilya will happen at Bash in Berlin. So maybe it'll be a rematch between Gunther and Damian Priest, but I think that Damian might win this one. Damian's going to win this one because it, like, just to prove that, dude, I'm none of that shit you say I am. I'm a worthy champion. I'm not no street trash. I'm none of that. Don't underestimate me. This is like almost the story with Sammy and Braun Breaker, you know. Like Damian's not a come from behind champion, but he's been a tweener champion. Like I said, he hasn't proven all of his victories to be solid. And this might be a solid victory. I think they might give Damian a solid victory before he drops the belt at Bash in Berlin. So I got Damian Priest still as El Campeon at SummerSlam. Gunther is going to get too cocky and some shit like that. And then he's going to go south of heaven, courtesy of Damian Priest. So that's 2 title retains. 3 title changes, 2 titles being retained. Next up, and 4 title changes. My bad, because I got prediction of Jade and Bianca getting the titles back. So that's 4 title changes, 2 titles being retained. 3 also, but we'll get into that before I get into the next match. The last title match. I'm gonna get into this non-title match, the only non-title match that's on this card, and that is CM Punk versus Drew McIntyre with special guest referee Seth freaking Rollins. This has been a match. If you damn near like, man, this has almost been a year in the making. This goes all the way back to Crown Jewel. This goes all the way back to Crown Jewel when Seth Rollins was facing Drew McIntyre for the World Heavyweight Championship, and Seth kept getting his number. They culminated at War Games when Drew McIntyre was a part of Judgment Day's team, and Seth Rollins was co-captain with Cody Rhodes and brought in Randy Orton, Jay, and Sammy. They was reluctant with Jay and Randy, but whatever. Seth and Cody got it done. They took out Drew, and then Drew had another match with him, and Seth retained. I forgot to mention, though, after War Games, the Survivor Series, CM Punk came back and he made his obligation clear that he wanted to main event WrestleMania. But that he had to go through the road to WrestleMania through the Royal Rumble. Seth Rollins was still a champion. He didn't have a match, but, Drew and Punk was in the Royal Rumble. They got it on. Drew hit that shock. I keep naming the name. I keep forgetting the code name of that shock factor value, whatever, that DDT. He went for that double arm DDT, tore Punk's arm off, tore Punk's tricep off the bone. However, Punk finished the Royal Rumble, was the last to be eliminated by Cody Rhodes. We know the story about Cody Rhodes, which we'll get into later on. But Punk, he wasn't able to compete since the Royal Rumble. Drew's been bragging about it because Punk wanted to main event WrestleMania, and Drew was bragging about the fact that I took your WrestleMania hopes and dreams from you. Then Drew became the number 1 contender via Elimination Chamber to face Seth Rollins for the World Heavyweight Championship at WrestleMania, but still antagonizing CM Punk. So Punk became guest commentator for their match at WrestleMania. Nice little quick match between Punk and Drew, between Drew and Seth. Drew wins the World Heavyweight Championship, holds it for at least a good 5 minutes, decides to brag to Punk about it while Punk is at commentary table. Punk, despite a bad arm, beats Drew up. Damian cashes in, and after 5 minutes and 46 seconds, Drew is no longer the World Heavyweight Champion. So since then, Drew has been pissed off at Punk, been wanting to fuck up Punk since the beginning, but Punk hasn't been cleared yet, but he's still been screwing with Drew McIntyre just because you took me out of WrestleMania. Meanwhile, after Seth loses the belt, he's been gone. Hasn't been seen after he helped out Cody Rhodes win the Undisputed Championship. So from April up to Money in the Bank, we don't see Seth Rollins. Meanwhile, Punk and Drew are going at it. While Punk ain't cleared, Drew keeps getting screwed, goes out of his mind, beats the shit out of people to the point he gets suspended. But Punk gets bladed up, gets his family bracelet taken from him. Drew has it for hostage. Punk comes back, wants the World Heavyweight Championship not Punk. Seth comes back, wants the World Heavyweight Championship, loses it because Drew decides to cash in. Punk decides to screw Drew, and he screws Seth at the same time, which pisses off Punk and their hatred for because Seth didn't like Punk for the fact that you coming back because you're a cancer, man. You keep fucking up shit that everything's perfect, but you come along and fuck everything up. And this proves Seth's point again. You come back through whatever reason, you're screwing up shit. You're a cancer, Punk. So Seth and Drew are screwed out of the World Heavyweight Championship because of CM Punk's actions. Now Punk is cleared. Drew is lifted from suspension. They want to fight, but because it's been so much chaos between them two, referees don't want to have no fucking problem with them. So Seth Rollins is now your special referee because he doesn't like either of them two. So it's clear that's what's going to happen in this match is that Drew is going to win. Drew has always been talking about the fact that I've been wronged. All because, he took out Punk, and Punk has been unjustly screwing him. So Punk and Drew are going to get it on. Seth, he's going to have issues with both Punk and Drew, but more so with Punk. So you look at this, if you're a wrestling fan, y'all like, who doesn't like Roman Reigns at this point? And we're going to get to him later on. But if you're a wrestling fan, you think about this special referee match in the same sentiment as you think of Shawn Michaels being the special referee at SummerSlam 97 when Bret Hart faced Undertaker for the WWE Championship. You knew how much Shawn Michaels and Bret hated each other, but Shawn Michaels had to call that match down the middle, or he had to suffer some consequences too. But Shawn kept going at it back and forth between Undertaker and Bret, but mainly with Bret, up to the point where Bret spit in Shawn's face because Bret was about to hit the Undertaker with the chair. Shawn Michaels pulled the chair from him like, nigga, you ain't gonna do that while I'm the referee. And Bret said, fuck you, and spit in his face. Shawn said, fuck this shit. So he took a swing at Bret. Bret ducked, hit the Undertaker, knocked him out, and Bret said, count me. He took he covered the Undertaker and said, make the pinfall. Long story short, if Shawn didn't call the match down the middle, he couldn't wrestle in America no more. So he had to make the pinfall, and forcibly, Bret was your new WWF champion and pissed off the Undertaker. So no title match. Like I said, this is the only match without a championship. This is just hatred between all three of these dudes, mainly between Punk and Drew. But Seth has hatred for Punk. So I see maybe Drew McIntyre probably going for a weapon, and Seth Rollins tries to break it up, tries to stop him from doing it. And then what? I guess Punk probably will get up from unconsciousness to see something, and Seth will have the chair in his hand, and him and Punk will try to wrestle it out, and out of nowhere, a Claymore kick. I see a Claymore kick smack at a Claymore kick with a chair in the face of Punk, and Seth Rollins has to make the pinfall. Something like that in that fashion. Drew was going to leave away feeling vindicated and wanting the title shot or whatever. So you might see a triple threat match between Drew, Gunther, and Damian Priest at Bash in Berlin. Maybe that. But Drew McIntyre is going to leave feeling vindicated with a victory over Punk, with Seth having to make the count as the referee. And Punk might have a brawl with Seth right after, because this shit's been bubbling since November. When Punk came back in War Games Survivor Series in Chicago, Seth was the main one that wanted to fight him, even with Punk taking all that adoration from his hometown. He wanted to run and beat the shit out of CM Punk because he hated him. If you saw the tweets or the interviews that that Seth Rollins had before CM Punk came back when he was leaving AEW, he said, "Stay away. You're a cancer. Stay away. I don't want you here. We don't want you here." So when he came back, all y'all saw it. Fuck you. Fuck. It took Corey Graves to push Seth Rollins back. So this is going to bubble that up. When Seth makes the pinfall for Drew to pin Punk, Punk is going to be more pissed at Seth Rollins because he's going to want to beat the hell out of him. Like, nigga, I could have got this shit, but no, you just hate me for some reason. You couldn't take my, like, whatever. He didn't fully apologize to Seth Rollins, any of that stuff. So, man, this is a great storyline. Who knows how long this is going to be built up to? I do believe that it's going to be a bad blood match, one-on-one between between Drew McIntyre and CM Punk. Bad blood, first blood. I don't think it's going to be a Hell in a Cell match. I don't think Punk wants to go through that type of brutality at his age. We'll save the Hell in a Cell match for another blood feud, which I'm about to get into very shortly. So yeah, Drew McIntyre beat CM Punk, to my reluctancy, because this is going to be Punk's first one-on-one match on TV back. He had a one-on-one match with Dominic off TV and shit at a live event, and it was fun to see. But this is going to be his first one-on-one match on TV, and he's unfortunately going to have to put Drew over. Man. So, so Nia's your new women's champion. Logan Paul, LA Knight's your new U.S. champion. Braun Breaker's your new Intercontinental champion. Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill are your new two-time women's tag team champions. Liv is still your women's champion. Damian is still your world champion. Drew McIntyre beat CM Punk. And this last match, Cody Rhodes versus Solo Sikoa, the new so-called tribal chief. Since WrestleMania, when Cody Rhodes became the new undisputed WWE Universal Champion, beating Roman Reigns after a subsequent reign of 1,316 days as culminated WWE Universal Undisputed Champion, Solo Sikoa has been standing by as the enforcer of this bloodline since Clash at the Castle 2022, just making sure he stick thumbs down people's throats and make sure that the bloodline remains dominant as the leaders of the WWE. But slowly but surely, he watched this all fall apart. He saw the Usos lose the undisputed tag team championships to Sami Zayn and Kevin Owens. He had to be a part of this bloodline civil war where Jimmy and Jay broke out, and ultimately Jay stayed out. Pause. Jay had Solo was there. He had to be a part of this whole bloodline civil war, and he witnessed Jay break out, and he witnessed Roman get weak when he couldn't do this by himself. But he stayed. He stayed, remaining the enforcer. He stayed and watched Jimmy come back, and to use bloodline as a last resort for backup. And he remained the enforcer. And he took out John Cena while Roman Reigns remained part-time and champion and could barely hold on to the belts with these new challengers. And as that time happened, he became the tribal heir under the tribal chief Roman Reigns. And he watched Roman Reigns fall under Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania 40. So since then, he said, ain't nobody got no belts. Who's tribal chief? I'm tribal heir, right? People losing, there's consequences, right? So I'm taking charge. So since after WrestleMania 40, Solo Sikoa took out Jimmy, added in Tama Tonga, added in Tonga Loa, the Gorillas of Destiny, formerly of New Japan Pro Wrestling. And during this time, they've taken out Jimmy Uso, Kevin Owens, and Randy Orton. And at the time, after they took out Orton and Randy, they aimed for the WWE Undisputed Champion. At this time, the wise man was still Paul Heyman, and he was trying to tell Solo that you're making moves that the tribal chief does not approve of. But the Gorillas of Destiny kept saying these are about orders of the tribal chief, which Paul Heyman didn't understand. But he eventually understood and realized that Solo Sikoa was assuming himself as the tribal chief, because later he also recruited Jacob Fatu of Major League Wrestling, who was a bad son of a bitch. Not a son of a bitch, not some of a bitch, some of a bitch. You got to give him a new word, man. And if you don't know about Jacob Fatu, you better, because he's shown that he is even worse than Solo was when he was the enforcer of the bloodline. And Paul Heyman has been in shock of this, up to the point where when it was time for him to acknowledge Solo as the new tribal chief, he couldn't. And eventually, the wise man has been taken out. So all while Roman Reigns has been gone and no longer the champion, Solo Sikoa has been assuming his place as the new tribal chief and wants acknowledgement and wants championship gold, and he wants Cody's gold. He don't want to wait in line for IC championships, for tag team championships. Had they tried to get the tag championships from off of Sammy and Kevin, but the Usos tried to help but stopped them from doing that. So now Solo is saying, fuck this, I'm doing this on my own, but with my team. No emotions involved, no family emotions involved, just blood and gold. And he wants the one gold that Cody took away from the bloodline, the undisputed gold. Now, Cody has had no allies. For the moment he had some in Randy and KO, but now they're gone. And Jimmy hasn't been back since he's been taken out from the new bloodline, which was under, at first, Solo and Tama. He didn't see Tonga and goddamn Jacob. So now, Cody's by himself to face a new bloodline, almost similar as WrestleMania 39. Because he was by himself versus Roman Reigns. And he had Solo and he had Sammy and Kevin, but still you had the full bloodline, the Usos and Solo Sikoa. Wasn't enough. Now, we don't know what's going to happen, but we do know for sure that Cody will retain his undisputed championship. Because just like Cody told Solo back at WrestleMania 39, Solo is not ready. He's trying to assume himself as the tribal chief, assume himself to think he's ready to be WWE champion. He has to take certain steps. You can't just take somebody's spot as the tribal chief. You have to earn that. And Roman Reigns was the man to earn that. He's the man to bend that. But since Roman Reigns tried to assume himself higher than the final boss and asked the final boss to acknowledge him, that's when shit went haywire. The Rock was the one to tell Solo, it's time to flip the switch. So for now, we won't see that happen. But at SummerSlam, Cody Rhodes will retain the undisputed WWE Championship somehow, some way. Because he's the American Nightmare. He's the face of this company. He is the undeniable champion that the people love to get behind. And it's not just that. He's going to be a little bit more smarter. He's like, Jacob Fatu is the new enforcer. We have yet to see an enforcer. Like, Cody Rhodes likes to throw shots. He said, that's an interesting name you got there, enforcer. So who knows, man? We might see Arn Anderson pop up to help out his boy Cody Rhodes and pull out the Glock. But that might not even be enough. But still, Cody Rhodes is going to retain his Undisputed Championship. And Solo's going to probably be mad, try to stick the bloodline on him. But once that happens, you're going to hear some music drop. You're going to hear a big ass boom, drums drop and the orchestra sing, and the lights go blue. And at that moment, you're going to see every single person in that Cleveland Browns stadium throw their ones up. Because then they will acknowledge the true tribal chief, because Roman Reigns will make his return at SummerSlam in its conclusion. You can bet that. Charlotte Flair will be back, and so will Roman Reigns. It's going to be an exciting SummerSlam. Like I said, 3 titles are going to change hands. No, 4 titles are going to change hands. 3 titles will be retained. Cody will retain the Undisputed Championship. Damian Priest will retain the World Heavyweight Championship. Liv Morgan will retain the Women's World Championship. Drew McIntyre is going to be CM Punk, but you will have a new United States champion in LA Knight. Yeah, you will have a new Intercontinental champion in Braun Breaker. You will have a new women's champion in Nia Jax, and you will have new tag team champions 2 times in the form of Bianca Belair and Jade Cargill. These are my predictions for SummerSlam on August 3rd. I wouldn't be mad if I got 6 out of 8. But if I go for if I get the whole strike right, even if we probably say it's 7 matches already booked. I'm only predicting the tag team title match with Bianca and Jay versus the Unholy Union. If I get that right, then yeah, they're going to get those belts. So hopefully I want to get 8 out of 8. But we'll see, man. I might be back for Friday. I don't know if I'll be back tonight for NXT, but we'll be back for Friday, man. We got to see what's going on with this road to SummerSlam. It's getting more and more exciting every time. So until then, I'll see y'all Friday. Out.